Let's begin this nonsense.
Let's begin.
Hi, Gavin.
Hi, Louie.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, everyone, to the Mixed Reviews. We're a podcast in which we take a... Well, that was a weird take.
We take it.
We'll take it.
We'll tell you what we do. We take some movies.
we take some movies.
We take some actors.
Yeah, we talk about actors, directors, movies, mini genres, and we talk about what we think works and what we think doesn't work, and we also give you a little mini history.
Yeah, we go through it all, we mix it up, we spit it back out, and it's tasty.
And we mix it up, we spit it back out, and we say, how dare you serve me this?
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, we love race chasers.
Yeah.
Gavin, how you been, Hanny? You're back from we're back together. We're back together again.
Yeah, we're back together. Back again.
Mm-hmm. I don't know the next lyric for that.
Oh,
so.
Is there another lyric?
Something about adrenaline? Yeah. I don't know. You're back from the road.
Yes.
You survived.
Yes, I drove 1,023 miles. I know because I have the receipts.
What's that?
It was a rental car.
It was a rental car. I did need to turn in those receipts.
Yeah.
That's like Vanessa Carlton amount of miles.
Yeah,
you know?
well, I kept annoying everyone by being like, and I would drive 1,000 miles.
That is annoying.
Yeah,
wow.
isn't it?
Good for you.
I'm glad you're here with me. Louis, how have you been? You've not been traveling.
I've not been traveling, but I wanted to, so our last episode we talked about like the best of the year, and we didn't get to talk about the favorite, but I'm so glad that we're talking today. And recording today because yesterday I went to a party that was the favorite themed.
Oh, someone gets invited to parties. Oh, just rub it in, Louis.
I mean, some of us have social lives and then some of us are you. So, you know. That's me.
Yeah. Choices.
One of the best jokes me and Derek have, it's always like, oh, it's me and my mean boyfriend. My boyfriend who's just really mean to me. Babe, you're so mean.
But also, is it true? Do you need help? There's a hotline, Louis.
I know, yeah. I should talk to someone about that. Don't joke about that.
Don't joke about that.
Don't joke about that.
Don't joke about that.
But yeah, so I didn't do a poll for the last episode.
No, I mean, it's hard when you're talking about best of. It's very subjective. Everybody has their own thing. Yeah. And also, after we did our episode, the Oscar nominations came out. And turns out we were wrong. Bohemian Rhapsody is the best movie of the year.
I cannot believe that it has slipped my mind.
Know. I just...
Did you watch the movie?
I have not seen it yet.
No, nothing.
That is actually weirdly probably of the three that I was really about that I probably would watch. I believe it's Bohemian Rhapsody, Green Book, and there's one other.
Vice?
Yeah, Vice. Oh yeah, I am never fucking seeing Vice. Sorry, audience. It maybe if you love it, I'm sorry. I'm just never seeing Vice.
I like The Big Short, but
I do not.
I have not seen Vice. I have not seen those three. Those three movies. I was like, I don't care that much.
I'm never going to see Green Book either. Probably. Yeah. I mean, I would see Green Book for this podcast. I probably will never see Vice for this.
Right.
Sorry, Amy Adams.
Well, I would watch it for like the Amy Adams episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, choices. But yeah, so tell me about the favorite party, though. Not to get us off track.
We definitely had like the soundtrack playing on loop, the very dramatic, and lots of voguing, and lots of little mini cakes.
Oh, were there any naked men that you threw tomatoes at?
I was set up to do that, but I didn't want to ruin my makeup.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a lot of makeup involved.
They looked at you and they're like, too svelte.
Yeah, during that movie, I was like, this is kind of erotic.
I think it's meant to be.
I was people were so fucking bored back in the day. They're like, let's get naked and throw fruits and vegetables at each other.
My favorite parts of that movie are the 100% Yorgos Lanthimos parts. The parts that feel like one of his movies, because I like The Favorite, so don't get me wrong, I'm not, but I think it is an elevated script. I think it's probably a boring period piece that Yorgos was like, because I'm good friends with him, I can call him.
Oh, you know Yorgos?
Yeah, I know Yorgos, yeah.
Saw him at the club.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. The Lobster? Yes.
Don't talk to me about The Lobster.
You're not allowed back there. I heard what happened. But I think he elevated this kind of generic script and made it more interesting by adding stuff like that, or races with rabbits and stuff.
And everything about, like, Nicholas Hoult pushing Emma Stone into ditches.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite.
And also, like, the candlelight in that movie being like, the lighting source.
Yeah.
And actually, I've heard some people dismiss the fisheye stuff. I loved it because I felt like I was watching weird surveillance cameras.
I live, laugh, love. And the party was great.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
It was a little smelly, and I thought, was
perfect.
I was like, oh, they went really the extra mile.
Yeah, exactly. They just, everybody rolled themselves in dirt before they came, and you didn't get the memo.
I know, I really didn't. I had showered.
Gross.
Fuck my life, I guess.
Running water. So bougie.
So off theme.
Yeah. Did you come as the queen herself? Is that what you did?
I was wearing a lace crop top that Derek just had. He has a costume bag.
Derek just had.
He has a costume bag.
Well, as he should.
Yeah.
Do you not have a costume bag?
Well, I've started a costume box now.
Yeah. I'll be perfectly honest because anybody that knows me.
Please do.
Yeah, let me open up. It's my podcast.
I hate when you lie.
Yeah. Well, I like you. And, I had so many costumes for my Batman villains, and in the last move, I was like, I don't wear these. I don't know when I'm going to wear these next, and so I got rid of most of them, which really was like a heart-wrenching decision.
Marie Kondo just really fucked you up.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, do these bring you joy? And I was like, who are you? Get the fuck out of my house. How did you get in here? I'm still not watching that show either. I mean, clearly. You're in this room.
Is it Adam McKay?
Yeah.
Same.
Marie Kondo, Adam McKay. Get out!
Yeah. Not in my house.
Yeah. But since we're wasting all this time talking about ourselves and not talking about last week's poll that we didn't do because there was no reason to.
Right.
We should talk about this week's subject.
This week's episode, we're talking all about the iconic, the legendary Miss Regina King.
Oh, wonderful. Like literally wonderful. Yeah. I love her.
Yeah, I love her so much. We talked, so after our last episode, we were like, who should we do? And we have both seen If Beale Street Could Talk.
Yeah.
We both really loved it. And I think we might have brought her up in our Sandra Bullock episode.
Yes.
And I
feel like I said only nice things. I hope I only said nice things. But also, you can never go back and listen to that episode. Ever. Nope, they're gone. Completely gone. Even though it's one of our most popular episodes, you can never go back and listen to it ever. Can't fact check me. No, thank you.
Those are the hidden tapes of the mixed reviews. Yeah, and I think we like immediately you were like, yes, Regina King, yes.
Yeah, I was. I was like, that'd be, well, because I think she presents both a unique opportunity, because we often don't get to do that many women of color. I believe the last one we did was Viola Davis, in between, and then Michelle Yeoh, but like, I feel it is important that we get to do these people because they oftentimes don't have conventional Hollywood careers.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I think that's slightly more interesting than somebody that's just like, I just continue to fail upwards.
Right.
But also, I just think she has a really interesting career because she presents also the unique problem that we had with Stanley Tucci, except for the fact that she's not a white man. And so therefore it has been infinitely more easy for Stanley Tucci. And I think he would agree.
Yeah.
But she shows up in movies and oftentimes she's in a movie for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so it's been kind of an interesting 2 weeks to cover her.
Yeah. And she has really blown up in the last, I would say 5-6 years.
Yeah.
She's like a awards powerhouse.
Yes.
She's won 3 Emmys in 4 years or something.
Yeah.
And
2 for American Crime, 1 for 7 Seconds.
Yeah. And then she just won the Golden Globe for If Beale Street Could Talk. I was reading an article that was like, she's really, this moment in her career would happen for white women in their early 20s.
Yes.
And so it's kind of unheard of, for someone of her age to be having the level of success that she's having. And what's amazing is that she has all the cred behind her. And now she's directing a lot and she has...
I love that too. And I was going to wait to get into that, but like, I love the fact that she has fallen in love with directing.
Yeah.
She started in 2013 directing TV shows. And she's basically every year except for 2014 directed at least 1 episode of a TV show, even TV shows that she's not on.
Yeah, totally. And, you're right. She has a super interesting career. I think her filmography is very interesting to go in and out of, especially because there are definitely some stinkers in there.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh man, this movie's tragique. But then she's in like, lots of Oscar fare. And, I think the early part of her career is super interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to dive in.
Absolutely. So let's get to it. Let's get into our rewind. Regina King was born January 15th, 1971, which makes her 48, which, like, means she's got an incredible career ahead of her.
Yeah.
Which I kind of love that she, you know, as you mentioned, she's having this sort of renaissance, but she's having it in the part of her career that's normally reserved for, like, the younger, like, Anne Hathaway section of career.
Like Jennifer Lawrence, you know, Emma Stone.
Yeah.
And, like, no shit on them at all, but, like, you know, as young, traditionally beautiful white women, they're able to break out at 22, 23 and have, like, I mean, it's insane that, you know, Jennifer Lawrence won her Oscar the age she did, playing the roles that she did that are, like, ridiculous. Like, she's not a 35-year-old woman. She's playing roles for, way, ahead of her, like, age range. But, Regina King her moment is now. But she was a child actress, right?
Right. Well, so, her full name is, Regina Renee King, and she was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. Shout out to Ohio. But she grew up.
Why shout out to Ohio? You have friends in Ohio?
I do.
Okay. Work.
But she grew up in View Park, Windsor Hills, California, which is the longest name of any place alive.
View Park, Windsor Hills.
Yeah, exactly. She's essentially royalty.
Mm-hmm.
She's the eldest daughter of Gloria, a special education teacher, and Thomas King, an electrician. Her parents divorced in 1979, so she would have been 8 years old at the time. And she also has a sister by the name of Regina King, who is a former actress and actually appears in one of my absolute favorite movies, To Sleep with Anger, which, if you have not seen, is coming to the Criterion Collection very soon.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very good. It's a Danny Glover film, and I highly recommend it. But Fun fact, Reina and Regina both mean queen.
So their names are
Queen King and Queen King.
The Queen. I can't say it.
Queen
Kings.
Queen Kings. Queen King.
Double toil and trouble.
She attended Westchester High School, and she graduated in 1988, and then later attended the University of Southern California. But she began her acting career in 1985 with the role of Brenda Jenkins on the television show 227. Jack A. Harry was involved.
Yes.
His apartment building.
Yes. Very important.
Yes.
Iconic.
Yes.
Jack A.
Well, yeah. Always.
Obviously.
Always.
Sandra, what's the matter?
Well, I just popped into a rather invigorating milk bath when I realized I'm out of shampoo. Can I borrow some?
Yeah, but what's the hurry?
Pearl's cat's trying to lick my ankles.
I'll get you some shampoo, Miss Clark.
You're a dear.
Jackie! Ladybugs. But she played that role for 5 years. Lasted from 1985 to 1990. So yeah, she would have been like late teens, early 20s.
Okay.
And then she finally, like, she moves on right away after that to a film career. And she ends up doing 3 John Singleton films. And I just real quick want to segue into, John Singleton. Because John Singleton to me is such a heartbreaking story, because to me, he was one of those directors who has the most, like, had the most potential, and then his career just sort of never went anywhere.
Yeah.
He directed Boys in the Hood in 1991. He was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Director, becoming the first African-American youngest person to ever be nominated for the
24,
award.
right?
Yeah.
Insane.
Which is insane.
I think, did I read that he was still at USC?
Yeah.
When he made that movie?
Yeah. And that movie
Insane.
is so good. And I say that, like, not even in a, I mean, I saw that movie when it came out, when I was a kid. I saw that movie in college. I revisited it for this, and I have to say, it's still so fucking good.
Yeah.
And her role isn't big in it. It's not. But she does get that great scene at the barbecue where they're, you know, like,
she's trying to like hook up with Cuba Gooding Jr.'s, right?
Yeah. And his girlfriend's right there.
Who is that, Shawnee's?
Let's try Ricky's best friend. He used to be best friends with Dobo when they was little. You know how they be trying to act like they brothers and shit.
Girl, he is fine. I like to rush that. He go to Wall Street too?
He go to Crenshaw. Girl, I seen him before. He work at the Fox Hills Mall.
Do he got a girlfriend?
Yes.
know this hoe's man. He fine anyway. You better watch his ass. Somebody might steal.
Yeah, I had never seen any of the John Singleton movies, and I watched all three of them, and I was just like, this is American culture, like history, like cinema. I was fully blown away by like seeing a movie handled with such care.
Yeah.
Clearly with someone who has something to say so specifically and who's not trying to exploit the, because essentially those movies are all about like kind of, exploring, Black identity and, Black masculinity.
Yeah.
And the dangers of, not having, a guy.
Phone's on silent, ladies.
Alexa? I think those movies are really interested in looking at the Black community and violence in the community and how that is ruining families and trying to get out and still be proud of where you're from. And oftentimes I think movies that are about like quote unquote urban things like that, they like make it very exploitative and very just like out in Compton, it's dangerous. This, I mean, there certainly is parts of that, but like you can tell it's made with someone who like loves it still, and it's dear to him.
That was one of the things that I found in my research. Is I found this great interview clip where Miss King was talking about when she first got the script and how she really felt that it was the first time she saw LA at that specific moment really reflected back on the page and on the screen eventually.
I kind of was like, finally, finally, LA is being represented different than what we see on TV or in movies. This is the LA that we see.
People had no idea before that movie. Well, before NWA, but before that movie, they had no idea what it really...
Yeah, I mean, NWA definitely painted a picture for you verbally.
Yeah.
But, now what John Singleton is doing is bringing those words to life so that, I think a lot of people need visual things.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of us can listen to music and be transformed or transposed. Is that what I'm looking for?
And I think that's really cool. But I also, like I said, I think especially Boys in the Hood is still so poignant. I think Higher Learning, which is the third of the three, is maybe not my favorite. It's the hand is a little heavy on that one.
Yeah.
But Boys in the Hood, and not to belabor the point because we are talking about Regina King here, the gentrification speech given by Lawrence Fishburne in that movie it's
prescient and telling, and I also think it's very genius that a lot of the actors that were in John Singleton's movies, they appear many times over and over again, but also he was able to like see these people in the community like Ice Cube, Tyra Banks, Tupac, Janet Jackson, who were not just, they're not actors, but they're so important, and they were kind of like these North Stars for the Black community. And he said, I'm going to use them and their celebrity to tell these stories that are important, to make people look and see, and because like Lawrence Fishburne's in them, Cuba Gooding Jr., like these are all like heavy hitters. Nia Long, it's, I think it's so genius because he was not boxed into just like the medium of, what is an actor. And I mean, is Janet Jackson the best actress in the world? No, but like,
and that was sort of, she also talked about that. I do, since you brought up Poetic Justice, I do think that's the one that we should really talk about because that's the largest role she has in all three of the films. Yeah. And, she's sort of Janet Jackson's sidekick in that movie, but she gets like a really good, she's her storyline.
Yeah. She's her best friend.
But she mentioned that she, in an interview, she really tried to get, because Janet Jackson's from a very different world than the Regina King comes from, and how she wanted her to go to her, elementary school with her to just sort of see the little girls that she was playing.
I actually wanted, and I don't know if it's because you have handlers around you and you're being protected, but I wanted her to come with me to like the elementary school that I went to, and I said, we don't have to get out the car, but just we should just like sit in the car so you could just watch what type of little girls, we were. And she said, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. But it never happened.
I read how when she first got the script for Boys in the Hood, someone said, oh, don't you know that he's just a kid who's also at USC? And she was like, what? And you kind of feel that, like, you feel like this really cool crackling energy. I'm embarrassed that I had never seen these movies, but, like, literally find them, watch them, and, they're very special.
From there, in 96, as she continues to do films, for the next decade, 96 she does, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, with Martin Lawrence, and then she gets one of her biggest films, but not big roles, in Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
And she plays Cuba Gooding Jr.'s wife in that movie.
Yeah.
I have to say, I've never loved that movie. I don't think it's bad. But I don't understand the cult around it.
Yeah.
But she's so good.
She's very good.
It's such a limited role.
This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna reject that shitty contract. You're gonna play out your existing shitty contract. And you're gonna go be a free agent next year. Come on, hey, baby, this is us. You and me. We determine our worth. Baby, you are a strong, proud, surviving, splendid black man.
Mercy. You're the shit.
I mean, I don't know who I was listening to, but someone was talking about this specifically, and it's like she does so much with like a very limited role. And even I was reading like an interview with who the fuck directed this movie?
Cameron
Crowe, who is like the scene where Jerry is looking at Cuba Gooding Jr. and his wife Regina King, and they have so much love, and he realizes like that's what's missing in his life. I also am not a big fan of the movie. I rewatched it for the first time in a long time, and I was like, oh god, this movie is it just is. Rich hot guy is sad because his life is meaningless. Right. And I was like, boo fucking who?
Right, exactly. All of our lives are meaningless. Yeah. Thank you for coming and listening to the Mixed Reviews where all your lives are meaningless.
But, she fully, when she goes toe-to-toe with Jerry, she goes toe-to-toe with Cuba.
She also gets to be, even though she doesn't have a lot of lines in that scene, she gets to be in the iconic Show Me the Money scene.
Yeah.
She's there for the entire phone call.
Even like when she's the scene where Cuba Gooding Jr. like gets injured at the football game and she's watching from home and she's really emotional. So I do think the movie was a very good showcase for her. She's better than fucking Renee Zellweger in the movie, right. Bitch. I'll tell you that.
Why'd you get so squinty when you said that? That's so weird.
The spirit of Renee overtakes me.
So weird. And then, the next thing she does, she plays Will Smith's wife in Enemy of the State. And then this sort of becomes her steez for the next 5 years, where she's in How Stella Got Her Groove Back, playing a friend. She's in Mighty Joe Young, playing a friend.
Yep.
She's in Daddy Daycare, playing a wife, and on and on. And then every now and then she gets these brief moments of places that she gets to do something slightly different, but not always successful. That's where you get your Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde, your Miss Congeniality 2, Armed and Fabulous, A Cinderella Story, Down to Earth, which I believe she has a much larger role in, but I didn't get a chance to see it.
I've seen it, but I didn't rewatch it.
Well, here they are, Mr. Wellington. The faces that you were too much of a coward to confront. So what do you have to say to them?
Hey, what's up, Willie? Crunch and Crunch, how you doing, man? Hey, Big IV. Now, save me a sip. I want a sip now. I know what's wrong with you. Your breath is destroying the environment.
Why don't you tell them that you don't care about them? And while you're at it, how come you locked the staff and the press out of this meeting?
You know what? I must have been out of my mind. Was I taking ecstasy that day? We going in there.
I don't know. It wasn't that I just didn't have time. I was on the road a lot.
But that's kind of telling, I guess, if we can't even remember,
Yeah. But that's, and I think because of that, she really starts to retreat.
Well, she also does Ray.
Yes.
She plays his mistress, because his wife is, Kerry Washington.
Yes.
And I think that was the first, I mean, when I watched the movie, I was like, oh my God, was this Kerry Washington's first thing she did? I don't know when she came on my radar for me, but it certainly wasn't Ray. And yeah, she plays his mistress, but she's like a singer. I mean, fuck me, I guess, but she's a very famous singer. And, she's like, give me a solo, Ray, give me a solo, blah, blah, blah. And she wants him to leave Kerry Washington for her. And,
You lay up in my bed every night. My bed. I'm gonna have this baby, Ray. No, Ray, no.
Listen to me. You know I care about you, baby. I ain't gonna let nothing happen to you. I'll pay for everything.
No! It's gonna cost you more than money. I want you to leave her and come and be with our baby.
You out your damn mind. You knew the rules when you got into this. You know, good and goddamn well I ain't gonna leave my family.
Leave your family? You are a damn fool, you know that. Between the dope and the music and me, you already done left your damn family. You know what the sad part about it is, Ray? You don't even know it.
Margie Hendricks.
And she has even said on a round table when they asked, like, who would you want to have lunch with, anyone living or dead, she says Margie Hendricks.
Really?
Yeah, because Margie Hendricks, that the real woman, she was ambitious. She was a great singer, but she became an alcoholic, because of, I mean, not because of, but I think in a lot had to do with her kind of hoping that Ray Charles was going to love her, choose her, and also, help her launch her career. And she had a couple of hits, yeah, he's adamant that he's not leaving his wife, and she eventually quits, tries to go on her own, and
she's really great in that movie, and she was not given I don't feel like she was ever given the same attention that Jamie Foxx was given, which is a little unfortunate because...
Did she get nominated?
No.
No?
No. Except for the Image Awards, where she got supporting actress nomination.
Huh.
But which is not... I always have... she did also get a Satellite Award nomination, for Best Actress, not for supporting.
Huh.
I always have trouble with people playing real people because I think they're at a slight advantage over others, because they have access to archives.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we talked a little bit about this with Melissa McCarthy playing Lee Israel, where like one of the things I enjoyed about her was that I felt that there was an equal balance of Melissa McCarthy in there as well as this character she was creating of Lee Israel. And oftentimes I worry when it's playing a real person, it's like, are we like their just ability to mimic them,
right, being a caricature?
And like I like Jamie Foxx's performance. I'm not saying anything too terrible, but it is very much a mimic.
Well,
role.
especially when it's like someone so iconic as Ray Charles. Like there is a way to learn how to play someone who is blind.
Right.
You know, and Ray Charles, who was famous for the way he played piano and like shook his head and opened his mouth really big and wide. Regina King, you know, this woman, she has a lot less material to work with. It's a much more limited. Yeah, she was a black female singer who had an alcohol problem. You know, there was nothing defining about this character in a specific way, like Ray Charles.
It's a lot of pressure because there's not a lot about her. So you kind of like in the dark, you know, there's not a lot of photographs on her. There's not a lot of video clips. So it's not really like I have someone to, you know, kind of study their movements, you know. So all I had was her music and her voice to study. And for her voice to be so powerful and the information that Ray had given Taylor and the little bit that I was able to read on her background and where she was from, you know, I just kind of took all those things and, you know, just felt that she was just this raw talent that was strong in the 60s and spoke her mind, and that wasn't really received well. Women speaking their mind that way. And so we just, with the wardrobe, tried to do little things like put her in pants, because women really didn't wear pants, but we felt like Margie would be that one woman that was going to wear pants. Not only was she going to wear pants, but she was going to wear pants every day if she could.
so that's probably like her biggest thing in the late 2000s.
Yep.
Or, I mean, in the early 2000s. Yeah. But also around that time, she really starts to move into television.
Yeah.
And she's talked about that the decision was she could spend more time with her son. Now, she got married in 1997 to Ian Alexander. They divorced in 2007. They have one son, Ian Alexander Jr., he was born in 1996. So if you think about that, like, this is the time we're starting to go to school. She wants to stay in LA more. But also, and she doesn't necessarily say this, and I think it's a very diplomatic thing that she doesn't say this. It seems like she's not getting the offers that she deserves. She is playing wives and friends and sidekicks, and it's not...
I mean, there's only so many movies where you can play, you know, like... And that's the awful thing also about, like, black female leads.
We talked about this with Viola Davis.
Yeah.
The sassy black friend.
Yeah.
It's such a trope in Hollywood to cast a person of color in the role of, like, either the sassy, I'm gonna tell you the truth character, or the wizened magical black person who shows up and gives you the answers you need.
Yeah, and I think especially within black actresses, it was like Nia Long in this time period was like the quote pretty hot one.
Yes,
that was like palatable for, you know, everyone to be like, oh yeah, that is a pretty romantic lead. And I think Regina King got stuck in this Hollywood loop of like, oh, that is the friend who you don't need to like have too much investment in. She's this like color character, which is super fucking unfortunate because she's so good at what she does.
She's so good. And she really, I think there's a really interesting thing about watching Regina King act is I feel like you can really see her, and I'm not saying like you're seeing her act, not at all by any means. I think she loses herself in characters, but I think you see her dig into her characters in a way that's different than a lot of other actors. Yeah. She really pulls, unexpected emotions out of people. I don't know. I think she's a force.
Yeah.
Like there's a natural charm to her, but there's also a depth that you don't necessarily get from people who are stuck playing the best friend character.
Yeah. And I mean, this is no shade to Nia Long either. I think she's a really good actress, but I think it's almost like, I mean, a majority of actors, I guess, they're like, the physicality of who they are oftentimes is a hurdle for them that more often than not, especially black actresses, don't get a chance to leap over that. Like, I think a lot of actors will be like, oh, this is my chance to show my versatility and range. Whereas, I think a lot of, POC actors, they have to just, for the longest time, bang their heads against their stereotype and their, like, what they're giving you, physically, because that's all they're getting. They don't get chances like white actors do to show range or whatever.
Absolutely.
You don't, how many times have we seen a black actress get the chance to do what Charlize Theron did?
Yeah.
You know, I can't think of any moment where we got to see, a black actress go ugly, quote unquote, or play something that's way off base from, you know, just being a black woman.
Absolutely.
Which is super unfortunate. Because, I mean, and this kind of leads us into, I think a lot of her TV work, because in TV world, Regina King on like American Crime was able to play, you know, a Muslim mother.
Right.
You know,
these roles that probably she wouldn't have had access to in a film world.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not to say that they don't exist. They do. They're just mostly in no budget independent films, you know, and they don't reach the audience that she would be able to, someone of her stature is able to access through doing TV. And that's sort of, you know, her first big TV role is actually voice work in The Boondocks.
Ooh,
which is like a really important thing. She plays both Huey and Riley Freeman, two young boy characters. If you have not seen The Boondocks.
This wasn't no movie. The smart thing was to say yes, get up, and leave the room. But then I thought to myself, what if this was a movie? Look, fuck you. Fuck the plane you flew in on. Fuck them shoes. Fuck the socks with the bell on it. Fuck them cheap-ass cigars. Fuck your yuck-mouth teeth. Fuck your hairpiece. Fuck your chocolate. Fuck Guy Ritchie. Fuck Prince William. Fuck the Queen. This is America. My president is black and my Lambo is blue, nigga. Now get the fuck out my hotel room. And if I see you in the street, I'm slapping the shit out of you.
Again, I just love that she's also has a finger in this very important cultural, like, Black American, things. Like,
absolutely.
Boondocks is one of those things.
But post that, her first big, like, long-running TV show that she gets is she stars in the NBC police procedural Southland. It gets canceled after one season on NBC, but then gets picked up by TNT. It runs for 4 more years.
Yeah.
And that she's often talked about, if there's one job she could go back to, it would be going back to Southland to be on that set with the fellow actors the relationships that she built there, and to play that character and see where that character goes.
She was with, the kid from the OC in that, right?
Yeah.
I remember, like, watching the first season of that. There was also
Ben McKenzie.
Ben McKenzie is, like, the co-lead. And then I remember, I must have been, like, a young gay at the time, because I was like, ooh, they have, like, a police character who's also gay. But, like, he was very, like, DL. He would go to bars and just, like, be sad. And I was like, oh my god, moody, yes.
Yeah, you're like, that's what life is like.
Yeah, ooh, sad gay cops.
But from there, she went on, she was on 24. She was on, Shameless. She's also, and I didn't know this until we played this game, because it's not a world I traffic in.
Mm-hmm.
She was on The Big Bang Theory.
I did not know
multiple episodes. And I found some clips, and they're, like, racist. And so I was like, cool.
Dr. Cooper, how can I help you?
Yes, hello, I'm fine. I understand you may have a bad impression of me, so I bought you a gift.
Dr. Cooper, that's not necessary.
It's too late. Get ready to like me.
Roots?
The tragic history of slavery in America. Fun for the whole family.
Why would you think this is an appropriate gift?
Well, you are black, right?
This meeting has come to an end.
Because you want to start watching it right now. Copy that.
Sorry you had to do this, Regina. I was like,
that's, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look that up.
No, you're better off. And then, this brings her to, like, the middle of the 2000s, and really she does her like, last live action screen movie, with Our Family Wedding in 2010.
Yeah, I watched that, and I was like, huh.
And, like, her name is on the poster. It's,
also,
Forrest Whitaker, America Ferrera, Carlos Mencia.
Yeah,
Shannon Sosaman.
Carlos Mencia's mom is also in that. And you know who else is in that? Very small role. A very young Gina Rodriguez.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she plays...
Baby Rodriguez.
She plays one of America Ferrera's, like, friends in the wedding. But,
by the way, as a nation, we failed America Ferrera, and I will never forgive any of you for it.
We really did. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, go back to what you were saying. Sorry.
Anyways, Our Family Wedding, it wasn't my, 1-star review pick, but it's down there. It's gutter.
Yeah, and like I said, it's very clear as to why she started moving towards doing TV more as an
outlet.
Yes. But, like I said, she gets these roles post, Southland. She then goes on to do 3 seasons of American Crime, which unfortunately ended too soon. American Crime was an anthology show.
So good.
Often using the same cast repeatedly, a new crime each season, but everybody playing different characters. First season, she plays, Aaliyah Shahid, Terry LaCroix in the second season, and Kamira Walters in the third season. 2 of those seasons she gets Emmy Awards for.
Yeah. The second season was incredible.
Yeah, it involves a sexual assault. Her son is a suspect.
Yes.
In the sexual assault.
And in that episode, she is married to Andre 3000 in that season. And they're kind of like rich, snooty, very like ruthless.
I'm almost at the school.
Okay, bring him home. Rob will meet us at the house.
What does the article say?
Indianapolis police have confirmed that they are investigating members of the prestigious Leland Academy basketball team. Are you close to the school? Kevin LaCroix, 18, captain of the Leland basketball team, hosted the party where the alleged sexual assault took place. Alcohol use documented on social media.
God.
I'm on Kevin's Facebook page now. People are already saying things.
Stop reading that.
What? It's been online, 2 minutes and people are already talking?
I'm here.
I think I was at the Emmys that Regina King won her Emmy.
Really?
Yeah. I saw her and she was beautiful, and her son was there with her. Like, literally, I could have, if I was a fucking monster, I could have, like, reached out and touched her, but that would have been very weird. But yeah,
I do want to say, though, since we are talking about the Emmys, prior to her winning those Emmys, because that was American Crime ran from 2015 to 2017. Not too long ago before that, in 2010, she wrote a scathing op-ed for the Huffington Post as a special contributor. And I want to read this little bit. She said, "I've worked in television nearly all my professional life, and the statistic is quite sobering to me. And to add injury to my already sensitive nerve endings, a picture of Rutina Wesley from True Blood, who attended this year's Emmys, had the caption that read, 'Regina King enters the 62nd Emmys.' No, I wasn't there. Mistakes happen, right? Well, after a few, quote, mistakes of how people of color are portrayed in the Hollywood media, I decided it was important to say something about how things go down in Hollywood." I love the fact that she wrote this, and it makes me very happy. I don't think this is the reason that she started winning Emmys, especially 5 years on.
Right.
I think she deserves her Emmys, but I'm glad she said something. You know, it's really unfortunate,
and she's continued that today. I mean, she has If Beale Street Could Talk out now, which is her first big movie in a long time.
Yeah, since 2010.
But look, here's the thing. If Beale Street Could Talk is the first film I've done in like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. I've been doing TV. I decided that I didn't want to travel outside of the city,
sure.
you know, because Ian was starting, I think, junior high at the time. And I was like, I need to stay here.
Yeah.
And, you know, my agents were like, well, that means TV. Mm-hmm. And remember, when we were kind of starting out, especially me, because I think I'm a little bit older than you, but it was like that line, that divide between television and film.
Yeah.
Film actors are regarded like, they're Shakespearean, you know, and then television was...
slumming it.
Yeah, slumming it.
Yeah.
And for me... overall, I want a good story.
Yeah, totally.
I want to tell a great story.
Yeah.
Her role in this movie is way more significant than she's had in also a long while.
Right.
And
admittedly, she's playing a mother and a wife, but this is a very different style of what you're expecting when you hear someone's playing a mother and a wife.
Yeah, and she's continued the same, I don't want to say it's a crusade, but every chance she gets to be on stage when she's winning an award, she's saying how she's fighting for women of color, to get the respect and opportunities. And now that just like during this time, she was essentially, I think she was a part of the ABC diversity, directors program. And she, like, Shonda Rhimes kind of like took her under her wing.
Well, that's, as I mentioned before, she's really found this love of direction and directing. And she started in 2013. She did an episode of Southland. Since then, she did 6 episodes of Being Mary Jane. She did 2 episodes of Scandal.
Excellent show, P.S. Being Mary Jane, starring another amazing black woman, Gabrielle Union. Love that show.
Oh, I love Gabrielle Union.
Yeah.
She did 2 episodes of Scandal from 2015 to 2016. She did an episode of The Catch. She's done an episode of Animal Kingdom on TNT. Greenleaf, Pitch. She directed an episode of This Is Us, Shameless, The Good Doctor, and then in the last year she did an episode of Insecure.
Yeah, wow.
And so I love the fact that she's been giving these opportunities. And you know what? She sounds like she's, based on what I've heard and listened to, there's a great bit of the Actors Roundtable where she was talking about directing. She sounds like she's a really attentive director.
I bet. I mean, when you're an actor and you get to like kind of see, you know, how things are happening and what you have to go through to do your best work.
Often when a director is not savvy enough to actually have a conversation with the actor, sometimes it can be as simple as, oh my gosh, she looks so beautiful right there.
In that light.
You know. And Carrie and I, we were doing a scene, and she wanted to be up against this wall, and I was like, I can't put you up against the green wall.
She was like, green in the wall, undertones, and I was like, I hear you. I'm with you, I'm moving.
Right.
Just let me know, I'm good.
But becoming a director allowed me to be able to have that conversation and know that an actor would get it, opposed to when we're not being talked to or we're not being, we have a take and someone is not saying, that was great or, try it this way. It's not like we want praise, but as an actor, you want to hear something.
Direction.
I want
to activate my
Yes,
totally.
Something that's going to elevate the thoughts that I've already had.
When anyone directs me, like, oh, wow, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
That happens once, every 2 years. I don't know. I feel like I have to do everything on my own, and then I don't expect anyone to do anything.
But the best directors that you've had are the ones that actually inspire something in you. You've had a thought. You've been working on these lines. You've done all of your research. You've built your backstory as an actor. And those directors that can still come and tell you something and you go, oh, wow.
That helps.
Yeah, let me try it that way.
Yeah, that rarely happens,
It's,
though. I feel,
with my actresses, like, if it's a love scene, I'm like, put it at the beginning of the day because she doesn't want to eat before.
Yes, see?
That's
so nice. So nice.
Real quick, and I don't want to keep belaboring the point with the Emmys, by the way, too, though. She, from 1999 until she got her Emmy in 2015, the only people that were nominating her for anything were the Teen Choice Awards, the Screen Actors Guild Awards, Satellite Awards, the NAACP Awards, and the BET Awards. And Emmys, Oscars, Golden Globes, just ignoring her.
Yeah.
And I admit, like we said, she played a lot of sisters, wives, girlfriends, best friends. So the Oscars don't have a tendency to reward those so much, but like, I don't know. It looks bad.
It's not even just it looks bad, it's incorrect.
Right.
Because it's never about like, quotas. It's, recognizing truly the amazing work that's being done, and looking outside of just like the blinders. And so, I mean, that's also really important why the Academy is becoming more diverse.
Yeah.
And shaking things up. I know like it feels like a lot of growing pains for the Academy. But those are all good things,
Absolutely.
Because at the very least, more people are getting their work seen and they're being recognized, for their good work.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we move into our picks, I also just want to mention, that, as I've said many times on the show, I like talking about celebrity charity causes. Mm-hmm. I think it's important to know what's important to these, actors, actresses, filmmakers. And she supports some really good ones. She's, supported the Beckstrand Cancer Foundation and the Coalition for Skin Disease. And she's also, working with the I Have a Dream Foundation, to get a chance for higher education for low income, kids. And I think that's a really powerful message that she's sending out there into the world.
I got involved with the I Have a Dream Foundation at my first Emmy appearance. I love anything that has to do with empowering children and giving them more resources. It just felt right to be a part and get involved and get to know what they're doing there in a deeper way.
She seems to love children in a major way.
Yeah.
And
I know she loves being a mom and she is fully committed to her son and, making sure, I mean, she talks a lot of the interviews I could find with her. She talks a lot about growing up and how her mom was very strict with her and her sister.
Yeah. I've got a mama. Mm-hmm. Not a mother, a mama.
And there's a difference. What's the difference? Break it down.
I got whoopings. No,
so she wasn't playing around.
No, and she's a teacher. Mm-hmm. So, like, not only did we get whoopings, once my mother was very, she used that psychology. We called her Yoda because she would always, and all the kids on the block, your mom and them Jedi mind tricks. But when she realized that I would prefer a whooping to get in trouble, because after it happened, it's done. She realized, I need to change the discipline game. So she would do things like make us write a paper about it. Like ditch school, write about why I ditched and things that could happen. And actually, grade us on it. And if it wasn't right, would
send us back to the lab and make corrections. Wow. Yeah. So I don't know. I just feel like those little things, they stick with you.
And she, like, in those early John Singleton movies, you can tell that she's living her truth, that, you know, it is not far from what her experience was like growing up in LA. I mean, not that she grew up in Compton, obviously.
No, but
she had the black family. I mean, even in If Beale Street Could Talk, like, have those scenes with her and her family in that movie, you really sense that this is coming from a place, of love and truth. And it's a great thing to watch.
Absolutely. So, do you want to get into our picks, Louie?
Let's do our 1-star reviews.
Okay.
I've talked about this movie before, and I want to say that when we talked about this movie before, I was like, if we do Regina King, this is her movie also. Her and Sandy Bullock share the great honor of their 1-star reviews being Miss Congeniality 2, Armed and Fabulous. I don't mean to belabor the point, but some people just do not know how drag queens work.
Yeah. I like that this is still stuck in your craw for months.
I will never get over this. And it's a shame because I know that Regina King could do an amazing Tina Turner lip sync for your life. Okay. And this was taking away from her. Okay. Her like being nervous and like the movie makes her sing the song at this drag show, but then also she's, having to, you know, but then like the music comes back on. It's all just a fucking mess. I guess if you don't know about Miss Congeniality 2, it's the sequel to the very, popular and wonderful Miss Congeniality starring Sandra Bullock. This was kind of in the, I guess, era. This was 2005. So kind of closer to her kind of ending her. This movie came out, I think, the same year as Ray. And which is just like a fucking awful, like, look at one, look at the other. And she plays like the hard kind of foil to Sandra Bullock. She's her new partner or bodyguard, essentially, because Sandra Bullock is the face of the FBI and is not really in the field anymore, until, Miss USA gets kidnapped.
Right.
And they have to go to Vegas, to help crack the case. And, they hire Regina King's character to be her bodyguard to make sure she's safe. And antics ensue because they have budding personalities. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing they make her do for, you know, even Legally Blonde, where it's like, she is by the book and Elle Woods is just like a fun spirit.
We're gonna get to that.
Great. So, yeah, and of course, by the end of the movie, you know, the crazy white lady has worn her down and we get to see her true inside spirit, and she's not that bad after all. And I was like, God, this movie, I mean, going to see like these movies, you're like, oh my God, more Miss Congeniality, I'm so excited. And then you leave and you're like, I was fine without, I could have just seen Miss Congeniality again. But yeah, I don't know. This is not good.
The director's gonna call me back any minute.
Good. And when he does, you can let him know that chasing Dolly was all your dumb idea.
Oh, really? Well, let me ask you something, Chatty Cathy. What happened to Team, yo? You and me in it together,
Don't do that again. And that was before you ruined my career.
What?
Yeah, McDonald said that if I screw this up, then I'm out of the bureau. Thanks, Hart.
What are you complaining about? You're not famous. Nobody knows who you are. You're a private failure. But you see this? You see this? Everybody knows this. So if I screw up, I'm failure face.
Well, get your failure face out of my ruined career face, because right now I'm mad, and I'm pissed off and mad.
Oh, okay, hold on. So you're double mad? All right, well, if you're double mad, then I am mad. All right, top that one. Back off. Okay, you know you gotta stop hitting me because every time you do it wrinkles.
Ladies.
I don't hate her performance in that movie as much as I hate that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's the world's best performance, so I definitely agree with you that it probably deserves a 1-star review. But she's not my problem. I guess that's where, but it's a bad movie.
There's a lot of bad things in that movie that we talked about this with Sandra Bullock. It's like they essentially took everything that was good about the first movie and just kind of splatted it
Yeah.
You know, they took out all of the fun and, I don't know what they tried. They made the main character completely different.
Well, this is the problem with sequels to movies like this. Because you need to have you want the audience to fall in love with everything in the same way and manner in which they fell in love with the initial film. In order to do that, you have to erase the character back to level 1.
Yeah.
And so the problem they always make is that you essentially have the same character arc, but more enhanced. And we talked about it with the Sandra Bullock one, where it's like, you know, everything about her becomes to the nth degree. You know, she's suddenly like the
prissy.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily make sense. So my 1-star review, I'm just going to launch right into it, is Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde. Which I'd never seen until today, actually.
Oh, good for you.
And,
congratulations.
Oh, why, thank you. And it's so funny because that movie is the Black Mirror to the initial Legally Blonde. Because what it does is it erases every bit of character development that you had from Elle Woods. But what's even weirder about this one, whereas the message of the first movie is that, like, maybe not everybody's smart in the way that you, like, in the traditional way that you think they're smart, but that doesn't mean that they're stupid. This movie posits that Elle Woods and her friends have to make everyone stupider to accomplish their goals. So the plot of Legally Blonde 2 is that she decides to go to Washington to put in a bill to stop animal testing. Along the way, you find out her dog is gay.
Yeah.
By the way, the reason this even happens is she wants to invite her dog's mom to her wedding, which is the literally the dumbest plot device I've ever seen in a movie, to the fact that the movie has to comment on it.
Yeah, she hires an investigator to find Bruiser's mom.
Yeah.
Because she needs to send an invite for the wedding that they're going to have in, like, I don't know, Fenway Park or some shit.
Yeah.
They find the mom and she's at a animal testing facility.
Yes.
And this is like the setup for the movie.
Right. So she, because of this, her wanting to sue these people for animal testing, she gets fired from her job. She decides to go to Washington so she can put an anti-animal testing bill.
She's working for Sally Field.
Sally Field, who's a fellow alumnus of Harvard, a blonde woman from Harvard. But that connection doesn't matter as much as the connection to Republican senator who is also from Cap and New or whatever the name. Yeah.
Fuck.
And it just goes on from there. But like I said, the problem is like it never, this movie, unlike the first movie, never elevates Elle Woods' character, never makes you realize like, oh, she actually is smart. She's putting in the work.
Yeah.
She literally has to make everybody else dumber. Now, to get to Regina King's character, because she's really the reason for the season, Regina King plays Selma Blair's role from the first movie.
Yeah.
She's literally transported.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've taken and grafted this new character. She hates Elle Woods. There is no reason, really, for her to hate Elle Woods, other than the fact that, like, this new Elle Woods is an idiot.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny, because up until she actually does something bad, I was just like, Regina King's right.
Yeah.
Because Elle Woods is, like, this terror who comes in and dumbs everything down for everybody.
Yeah.
Will you leave us alone now?
Excuse me?
Look, I know you've been working against us, and I know somehow it's personal. You don't like me.
Clearly.
Well, if I leave Washington, will you call off the fight and let Bruiser's bill have a fair shot?
Your bill is trivial to me. I have my own agenda.
What, like the homeowner's bill that you pushed through at our expense? You know, that's all I'm asking, Grace.
The homeowner's incentives? I wouldn't touch that bill. It's a tax break for the wealthy.
Well, haven't you been pushing it for the last 2 sessions?
Look, Victoria has a live interview with Connie Chung in an hour. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, I think the movie's trying to, like, be like, sometimes if you do things your own way, like, you don't have to do things the way everyone else does.
Right.
I think that's what they're trying
to do.
But in the end, it's just like, she invites her dumb friends, who we know are dumb.
Right. And have gotten dumber.
Yeah.
All of her friends, her husband included, have gotten dumber.
And teaching interns how to do dog
cheerleading dances to
fucking horrifying.
Yeah, to George Clinton.
The first one is a smart feminist, like, you know, pro women, like, everything. The second one fully feels like a committee cash grab.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Regina King...
And I feel really bad because she's not given a lot to do, and I also don't think she did a lot with what she was given to do, because, once again, she's playing somebody else's role.
Yeah, I mean, in both Legally Blonde 2 and Miss Congeniality 2, she's playing, like, the tough black woman who, like, is by the book
yeah.
and, you know, is gonna stand up to, like, the white girl who's, like, kind of, like, ditzy. Because even though in Miss Congeniality, Gracie Hart's character, that is not her character.
No.
But in the second one, they make her into a prissy, dumb white girl. And they were like, oh, what if we just put, like, a tough black woman? Because I will say, Regina King is a very, like, muscular, like, she's
a strong presence. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, real quick, before we move out of our 1-star reviews, or talk about other ones, I do want to say, I don't blame Regina King for taking either of these roles. These are guaranteed moneymakers.
They were huge.
They were sequels to movies that were huge.
Yeah.
I would also want a piece of that.
Yeah.
And so, like, but I feel bad that she was offered these roles in these shit sequels.
Yeah. That's tragic.
Yeah. Was there anything else that you saw that you absolutely, as I mentioned before, not the world's biggest higher learning fan. I think there's a lot going on there that I like, but it's so oppressive.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's almost like John Singleton made Boys in the Hood, which was like critically like lauded. Poetic Justice, which got like mixed reviews. And then he was like, you know what, I'm gonna make another big heavy swing for like topics, issues. And poor Tyra Banks, spoiler alert, dies.
Yeah.
I want to tell you the story that I was meaning to tell you earlier. I had a dream literally last night where, what's the Nazi guy in this movie? Michael
Rappaport.
Michael Rappaport. He was in my dreams last night. And
I'm so sorry.
He literally, I think this is like the first time I'd seen him. Like, he's so young in this movie.
Yeah.
He's also in Poetic Justice though. Like,
yes.
For a quick second. In my dream, he's like, Louie, you know there's something between us. You can't deny it. And I mean,
were you trying to deny it? Is that what it is?
No, I guess we were on a date, maybe? But literally, I woke up and, I was at Derek's place and I was like, babe, Michael Rappaport, like, wants to, like, be boyfriends, but I told him I was, like, not single. Oh, that movie really planted itself deep inside.
You almost dated a Nazi in your dreams.
In my dreams. God, Michael Rappaport, the power he has.
I think that covers her the areas we don't really want to spend too long on. So why don't we move into our 5-star reviews?
My 5-star review goes to Poetic Justice. I know that's maybe it didn't get the same like love that Boys in the Hood got, but I think Poetic Justice is just trying to do different things.
Yeah.
This Poetic Justice is romance, and not just between like people, but it felt so romantic again. For all like there's beautiful scenes where they go to a family reunion and they crash it, and Tupac has a line where it's like, "This is the most amount of black people I've seen, and no one's fighting," and it just kind of like really hit me. Like, and they really want some barbecue. And the people who are there, they don't know Tupac and Janet Jackson and Regina King. And they're like, hey, cousin, come on down. And it's so beautiful. And like, Maya Angelou is there as playing like one of the matriarchs of the family. And it truly just felt like, I could just imagine being a young black person and seeing this, like, there are good things about us and things that we can celebrate about our families.
And things that aren't portrayed in the media.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think someone, a different movie in the hands of someone less careful or less smart would have just like, you know, and for the longest time, I didn't know what Boys in the Hood was about. And you just think about, you know, violence and this and that, but it's so much more than that. And it's not just like these awful stereotypical things. But so Poetic Justice is about, Justice is Janet Jackson's character. She's the lead role, and she is a hair stylist, but also she's a poet. And fun fact, in the movies, all the poems that she writes are actually written by Maya Angelou.
Yes. Which means they're great.
Yeah, they're fucking excellent.
Yeah.
And Tupac plays a mail carrier, and he, he tries to flirt with her for a little bit. He has a child from another woman. He's doing his best. He wants to be a musician, but he really thinks that his cousin is actually doing stuff in Oakland. They live in LA, in Compton, and they essentially, it's a road trip movie.
Yeah, it's a road trip movie. Yeah, absolutely.
She is on her way to Oakland to do a hair show. Her car breaks down, so she calls her best friend Aisha. That's Regina King's character. And Aisha is going, but she got a ride with her boyfriend, Chicago.
Yeah.
And Chicago's going with Lucky, which is Tupac, in this mail van. And so they all jump in this van, and Lucky and Justice are up front, basically squabbling the entire way, because, he's trying to show up and she's trying to be strong and independent and she doesn't need anything. In the back, meanwhile, Aisha and Chicago are like kind of hooking up, but kind of fighting.
That scene, by the way, when their relationship comes to a head, has stuck with me for years.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the choices Regina King makes in that scene. More than that, though, and I'm going to come back to Regina, that scene is shot like a fucking samurai film. The like instincts that John Singleton has about the way he does close-ups, the way he does whips, the way he does, like, it looks like Akira Kurosawa. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's shot so, and I'm not saying that I enjoy, cause Chicago does end up hitting Regina King, and I do not enjoy that. But the way it's shot, like, I don't know, like, how he could be so young and have those.
He was like maybe 25, 26 when he was making this movie.
But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, this is the first time we get to see Regina King have a fully realized character. Yeah. She's not just a sassy, best friend. Because I guess we forgot to mention she's in Friday also.
She's in Friday as well.
Kind of playing a similar role.
And I like Friday a lot.
I love
Friday.
Oh my God. When I rewatched Friday and I was like, this movie still fucking slaps.
but it's also not a huge role.
No, not a huge role. But so in this one, Aisha, she's kind of an alcoholic. She has a very fraught relationship with Chicago. And the road trip is just like, the movie is like peeling off layers of these four characters, and they all have these internal monologues and feelings about, who they are, who they want to be. And for Regina King's character specifically, she is looking out for number one. She openly flirts with other guys in front of Chicago. There's the scene that you mentioned where she fully blows up at him. She's essentially mad that he can't, like, stay hard and have sex with her for a long time. And she's like, she fully goes in on, she goes all the way off.
Look, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Don't turn your back on me.
I need to turn my back on you.
Why?
I need to turn my back on you, because that's the reason why the other bitch left you, because you can't hang.
Because I can't hang.
Because you can't hang.
Well, that's a fucked up thing to say. You
No,
know what I'm
but
saying?
it's a real thing to say.
No, real goddamn. That's what I get. That's what I get for
Please.
fucking with bitches like you.
Fucking
Y'all
with
don't give
bitches
a
like
fuck.
me?
Yeah.
No, I don't give a fuck about you, Chicago.
You don't.
Fuck you.
You don't listen to what the fuck I got to say.
Please,
You don't listen to what I got to say.
Don't touch me. I already told you not to touch
Listen to me then.
What the fuck do you have to say? What the fuck do I need to listen to?
How come my shit can be all like this? I'm beautiful as shit. You gotta go fuck it up.
Because you ain't a beautiful motherfucker.
Oh, that's fucked up. I ain't a beautiful. I'm sick of this shit. I'm tired of arguing with your motherfucking
Shut the fuck
ass.
up,
I'm sick of
Chicago.
you. Don't you turn away from me.
Don't touch me.
You better stop, all right?
You know what?
Stop
You know what? You weak. You a weak ass punk. You think you the shit just because you work out? You ain't buff. I wish I never met your sorry ass. You a sorry motherfucker. Yeah, that's right. Brush that weak ass fade. Nigga's dick can't stay hard 5 minutes. The fuck you do? Take steroids? That's the reason why I'm fucking somebody else.
Eventually, Justice has to pull her aside and is like, you need to stop drinking. You are on a road to fucking hell, girl. And she starts breaking down and crying. And yeah, I just love that movie so much. It was so, I liked that it was different from, Boys in the Hood is a masterpiece.
Yeah. But it is very different. It's a very different film.
It's not,
but I also think it takes a lot of, chutzpah to do that as your second film when you have something, because Boys in the Hood also feels very epic.
Yeah.
And this is a small story.
Yeah, it's small and it's focused on a woman. And it's not, the scope of Boys in the Hood, there's a lot of time that passes in that movie. In this, it's literally just a road trip between Compton and Oakland. But yeah, such a lovely movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like embarrassed I didn't see these movies, but I would, the ranking though is definitely Higher Learning is at the tail end.
Yeah.
And she's not a big part of that movie either.
No, she's really not.
And also that movie, I guess, is the first time we see John Singleton using a lot of white characters as well.
Yeah.
But whatever.
So, my 5-star review, at the risk of sounding very basic, is, I'm just going to pull the Band-Aid off, is If Beale Street Could Talk.
Correct.
I think she's currently doing her best work.
Yeah.
This is her time. I'm so excited to see what she does afterwards. If Beale Street Could Talk is out right now, so I don't want to give too much away, but essentially the main characters in the film are a young couple in love, and she plays the mother of the female of the couple. Her daughter gets pregnant, and instead of, it sort of toys with the idea that, like, maybe they wouldn't be happy as a family.
Things will not be okay.
Yeah. But what's great about Regina King's character is that she is very supportive of her daughter, very supportive of this relationship, and basically is willing to do anything she can to make her daughter's life easier.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too much into it. I mean, it's based off a James Baldwin book. You can go read the book. You can go see the movie. The movie's one of the most beautiful films of 2018.
Yeah.
But Regina King has to do a lot. There's a scene towards the very beginning. It's a long scene.
Great
where,
scene.
Yeah. Where they bring in
Fonny's
family, to tell them that, she's pregnant, and the mother and the daughters are not accepting.
They are less happy.
Yeah. They think that they are, that this is a bad thing, that the implication is not only do they think that they're so much more highfalutin and religious, they also just think that they're higher class.
Yeah.
And you definitely get this idea that they hold themselves in this esteem, and they think that this child will ruin, both her son and, Regina King's daughter's life. She has this moment, and I feel like this is one of the clips that goes around the internet where she tells this other woman, Fonny's mother, that this is her grandbaby.
Yeah.
And I fully, and literally, there is no build. I mean, there's build up around the scene, but not to Regina King's, moment that she has there. And literally, my eyes began welling. And it's just the power and the gravitas that she brings to that moment.
That child is coming. It's your grandchild. I don't understand you. It's your grandchild. What difference does it make how he gets here? The child ain't got nothing to do with that. Ain't none of us got nothing to do with that. That child. That child. That child. That child. That child. Get your shit. Take your shit with you.
Because you really feel that she is also fighting to love the fact that her daughter is having a baby so young.
She certainly is not like, oh yay, a baby. She fully is like, this is happening, and I love my daughter, and this is my it's almost like in her blood,
Yeah.
Even though it's not the ideal situation, she's not going to be mad and like abandon her daughter or say these. I mean, the things that they say to her are fucking awful.
My other favorite moment in the movie, and this is not to give too much away, but eventually, and you find this out very early in the film, Fonny is arrested. He's been accused of raping a woman. She has gone back to Puerto Rico, basically to get away from everything that's happening in the U.S., and they need her back to testify that it was not Fonny who did this. And so Regina King actually goes to Puerto Rico to talk to her. There's this really brilliant moment in the hotel before she goes to meet up with a contact who knows where she is, where she tries on a wig for a moment, and then she decides not to do it. I've heard Regina King talk about that. her idea.
There's the moment in the mirror where she takes off the wig and puts on the wig, takes the wig off. In the book, that was a shawl. And I told Barry, I said, what do you think about this being a wig? And because the wigs for women, you know, I mean, I remember my grandmother had one wig to go handle business and another wig when she's going out with my grandpa, you know, and she wears her own hair as well. So I felt like the time, the era that it was, I wanted to embrace that, and I felt like it made the fear that Sharon is the character that I played, was feeling in that moment. I felt like it made it more real.
And more vulnerable.
More vulnerable, exactly.
And I don't know, I think that's a really brilliant choice. I think she really inhabited the character. I've heard her talk before about how this is a woman rooted in Regina King's memory of her grandmother.
Yeah.
And she really, the entire thing is based off of the words in the book and her grandmother. And I don't know, I think it's really brilliant. And there, I mean, one of the other things that I love in the movie is there's scenes where she doesn't talk. When she first arrives in Puerto Rico, she's stunning.
Yeah.
And like, she's playing it all in her face. And
because she's fully like the desperation and searching, like, this is the last chance. You know? They spent so much money to do the investigation, to fly her there, and she is scratching and clawing her way to find this woman and beg her to please.
And she fully believes that she can be the one to connect to this woman. And you know, I hate, like, because it is a movie that's out right now and I really want people to see it. Even though eventually people will listen to this podcast later on when the movie's been out, like, there's also great talk about understanding between, you know, she thinks she's the avatar to do this for this woman. She doesn't know this woman. She doesn't know this woman's life. And there's a great confrontation there that, you know, because a lot of this movie's about assumption. And differences between people and life experiences.
And this is like a Latina woman. You know, so a black woman coming to ask a Latina woman and they're both such, you know, on the totem pole of life. And,
but in different ways, in such different ways.
Such different ways.
It's really remarkable. And just, I don't know, beautiful film. And once again, her performance is so, every note. It's like watching, I don't know, it's like watching, you know, Yo-Yo Ma play for you.
Beautiful.
Every note is pitch perfect.
Yeah.
And like I said, I literally think she's doing her best work currently.
Totally.
I think she's had years of building it up and doing. I hope she continues to, I know she's doing TV as well, but I hope she continues to do more films. I really think. And once again, like, I was complaining about her playing wives and mothers, but this is a very different thing. This is a fully formed human character, not just a sidekick.
Well, she's not a wife just at home waiting for her husband to come back from the things he, like, you know, an Enemy of the State, Will Smith is the person that has the story, and you get the wife at home. Where are you? You know, like, that's what she was relegated to. This is not that.
No. Were there any other films that you saw that you really loved that?
No, you know, she's great in Ray, but I didn't think that watching it, I was like, oh, this is how you make a biopic that wins an Oscar. Like, you know,
I mean, well, I say this often, but after the parody film Walk Hard came out, like, you basically can't make a music biopic like that anymore, which is what I've heard Bohemian Rhapsody ignored. So, hey, as I mentioned before, I really like her performance in Friday. It's not a huge role.
Craig, what eye?
Right there. Hey, Dane.
What?
Loan me $200. Me and Smokey got into a big worm today. We owe him $200. He said if we don't pay him, he's gonna kill us. So you gonna loan me the money or not?
Not.
She has a role in the Mike White film Year of the Dog. And I liked that she was in this movie because it's such a small movie and such an odd movie. And I like seeing her do weird things.
Yeah, I would love, yes. I guess we could talk about more into our fast forward, but I'm hoping if You Could Talk is the platform for her to do more weirder things.
Absolutely. So yeah, I guess that brings us to our fast forward.
Let's do it.
So her next thing, the really big thing on her schedule is the Watchmen TV series for HBO. And this is...
Is it HBO?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's created by Damon Lindelof, who I do not like, and co-created Lost, and also did The Leftovers, which I acknowledge was a lot of people's thing and was not my thing. She was on The Leftovers. She did 6 episodes, but she was a main character.
Yeah, she got nominated for awards for that, too. A lot of people... I think I read a review of something that's saying there is one specific episode of Leftovers. It was the best Regina King's ever been. I did not watch it.
Yeah, I found the entire first season to be miserable. And everybody's been like, no, you need to get to the second season. I'm sorry. If you need an entire season to get good, I don't have time. I fill my life with this. But I'm interested to see it. It does not seem to be a full adaptation of the comic book. It seems to be sort of a sequel, or a set in the same universe. She basically has not been, I watched so many interviews where she's like, I cannot talk to you about it.
Wow.
So
secret.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see, but she is basically listed as the star. I mean, she's the first name that comes up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be curious to see what that series is.
Yeah, and then her IMDb page, she has one other thing in pre-production, All the Way With You, which is scheduled to come out this year, so I don't know what this is. But that's beyond Watchmen, that's the only other thing that's listed on her IMDb page.
Should also mention, because this episode falls in between the dangerous area of post-Academy Award nominations, pre-Academy Awards, she's nominated. Finally, she's getting the Oscar attention she deserves. And once again, in the universe of things, maybe the Oscars aren't
the most important,
but I would love for her to get it.
Yeah.
That's...
I would say she's the front runner, but it's kind of scary she didn't get a SAG nomination or a BAFTA nomination, which is cuckoo bananas. Who knows? We'll see. I'm putting all the good energy in the world, but it took Viola Davis, the second time around to get the Oscar that she rightfully deserved for Fences. But anyway, that's all that we have on her for future projects. But she has said now that her son is in college, she feels better about doing projects that are not in LA. She feels like she can go and do more things that are not just all those shows that she did were in LA.
But I do appreciate, once again, and we've mentioned this many times, her love and devotion to, raising her kid is really impressive.
Yeah.
And something you don't often see.
Yeah. She essentially gave, a big part of her life saying, okay, I'm not going to try and, chase big movies. I'm just going to do what I can in LA, raise my child. And now that he's off in college now, and she's in this huge movie that she has an Oscar nomination for.
Yeah.
And I'm really hopeful that this is the platform that she needs to get the attention of other filmmakers who can see that she is not just, she's so much more than just the best friend. And yeah, I would, honestly, has she been on Broadway before?
I don't think so. I've not found any info about that.
I would love to see her on the stage.
I would love to see her on the stage too. Well, as we mentioned up top, she's young. She's 48. She's got at least, a bunch of years ahead of her acting. I would love to see her on stage. I want to see her direct a movie. Yeah. She's been directing TV for 6 years now.
Yeah.
That's long enough.
You know what?
Trial run. Do your movie.
I also want a redo of, so in Miss Congeniality 2, her and Sandra Bullock have a beating the shit out of each other scene.
Yeah.
I want a redo of that. I want to get, Sandra Bullock as a villain. Regina King is, a superhero, and they have a fight scene. I would love to see that. Let's do it right this time, ladies.
Yeah. Okay? Yeah. I still, to this day, don't understand that those scenes in Miss Congeniality 2 are 100% played for laughs, and it's these are violent. Like, these
are professional women who are beating the shit out of each other.
Right. It's weird that they, but yeah, so I think she's early on in her career, or like at least in the early middle of her career.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what she does next.
Yeah, and she can do literally anything next.
Yeah. She's so smart, she's so tough, she's luminous, she's, as we've mentioned several times, she has this presence and this force. And I guess maybe, like, that's something I didn't mention in the 1-star reviews. She doesn't have that in Legally Blonde. And that was, I think, the freakiest thing to see. And she was basically just, like, cashing checks.
Right. And especially thinking about, she is funny.
Yes.
She's very funny in Friday, in Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
She's funny. And these are two comedies that we chose, and they just kind of, like, wipe it all out.
Well, yeah. And I mean, part of that is the material that she's given, and they clearly not connecting to it.
Yeah, and they sanitize her for a broader, like, wider audience. And it's like, bitch, no, she's voicing the Boondocks. She is funny.
She's really funny.
And they just don't give her the opportunity, like, surprise, surprise, to showcase all her wide-ranging talents, which is unfortunate.
It's okay, because the best is yet to come.
Amen. Hallelujah. Peace be with you.
Absolutely. So, thank you for listening to the Mixed Reviews.
Thanks, guys.
If you want to find us online, you can contact us on Twitter at The Mixed Reviews.
We're on Facebook at The Mixed Reviews.
If you want to write us a message, you can email us at reviewsmixed@gmail.com.
And you can find us everywhere. Stitcher Radio, Spotify,
iTunes.
Yeah, that's the main one, I guess. It's fine, Gavin, sure.
iHeartRadio. And all sorts of stuff. And also, if you're so inclined, please on iTunes rate us and review us.
If you're so reclined.
Yeah, if you're so reclined. 5-star reviews, please.
Would love.
Just because it helps other people find us, and we actually ranked. I know, like, a little inside baseball. I don't mean to. We were in the top 200 film podcasts recently. We were 153.
Take that, other 7 podcasts.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I was very excited to see that. I was actually alerted to that by our good friend Chris File, who will be on the show at a later date.
Ooh. Also, the Twitter polls will be back.
Yes.
So be on the lookout for our Regina King Twitter poll,
which once again is at The Mixed Reviews.
At The Mixed Reviews, yes. Let's get into some Twitter discourse.
So until next time, it will be about 2 weeks or maybe a little more, depending. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
He's gonna give us the hook. Sell it, Tina. Oh, I left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. And I never lost 1 minute of sleep. And the way that my husband. Big wheel keep on turning, round and keep on rolling.